Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how dealers are bringing back some of their old tricks. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And if you want to see more content just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post these videos every single day. Let's get into it. So if you've been following the channel over the last couple months, then you know that the car market is an absolute poop show, and it is not good for dealers whatsoever, because not only have used cars declined by over 20% in just a few months, new cars are now starting to decline in price because availability is actually a thing for the first time in a couple of years. So dealers just don't have pricing power anymore with new cars and with used cars. And so they're having to change strategies to compensate for the fact that they can't make the profits that they were to make over the last couple of years. First off, let's talk about what they're doing over the last couple of years and contrast that with what they're doing today. So if you went to a dealership in 2020 or 2021, then you would have seen a fat old ADM sticker slapped onto the front windshield of a new vehicle. And if it was a used car, it probably was selling for more than what it sold for new. And this is because dealers had tons of pricing power, and they were not ashamed of this pricing power. And so they weren't trying to, tell you that you were getting nitrogen-filled tires or anything like that. They were just saying, market adjustment, $10,000, take it or leave it. But obviously that is long behind us because the car market is in a completely different place. And so what I'm seeing today is dealers are starting to go back to what they did in the past, where they add a bunch of accessories onto vehicles to compensate for the profits that they used to have. And so I've had people from all over the country send me in what they're seeing on dealer lots, and let's just kind of go over what they saw. So the biggest charge that everyone knows about that's just hilarious is obviously nitrogen-filled tires. Like, there's literally no benefit to nitrogen-filled tires whatsoever. I'm sure someone in the comment section below that works at a dealer is going to be like, no, it has this inherent benefit. It's air, okay? And so, yes, dealers are now starting to say, hey, $500, $1,000 for these nitrogen-filled tires so that your car will drive better off of the lot. And so we have bogus charges like that. But on top of that, we have dealers that are doing things that are a little bit shadier. So some dealers are claiming that you as a customer have to pay for a pre-delivery inspection on a vehicle. This is something that is subsidized by the automaker. But dealers are now saying, oh, hey, we have to charge you for the pre-delivery inspection on this new car. And sometimes they're now putting that on deals with used cars as well. And it's like, no, that's built into the price of the used car. You take in a used car, you have it inspected by your shop, and they fix things, and that increases the dealer's cost basis on the used car, and then you adjust the selling price. You don't just say, oh, by the way, this used car also has this inspection charge on it for $1,000, $1,500. And again, they're doing the same thing on new cars, and it's absolutely bogus. But the bogus charges don't end there, because some dealers are also saying that you have to pay quote-unquote shipping charges on new cars, which that's already a charge that's on the window sticker of every new car. It's called the destination and handling charge. But now some dealers are trying to double dip and say, oh no, you have to pay extra because of the region we're in, this or that. And it's like, no, again, completely bogus. Like, that is something that is not really subsidized by the automaker, because again, they're charging on the window sticker of a car, but that is already taken into account with the price on a car. And so all this is just dealers changing the word ADM to some random bogus charge and trying to charge it to you. So here's my advice on those bogus charges. Understand that they should not be on the car that you are purchasing. There is no added value with those items. My kind of like general rule of thumb with cars is, if you cannot physically see what has changed on a car in terms of something that a dealer's added to it, then it doesn't really add value. A good example would be a clear bra protection on the front end of a car. You can literally go up to the car and physically see that there is a layer wrapped over the paint that will protect the car from rock chips. But something like nitrogen-filled tires, you can't physically see it. It doesn't add any inherent value to the car. So that's not a perfect answer, but that will save you quite a bit of money in general, because it means that you won't be paying for these, special items that, again, don't really add any inherent value to the car. With that being said, there are some items that are being added to cars that I don't see as being really scammy. Some of you guys might disagree with me, but I think that as long as dealers are willing to negotiate off of the price on these items, that it's not really too big of a deal. So something that I've been seeing that's very common is dealers will now add window tint and clear bra protection and maybe like interior protection to every single car they have in the lot, whether it's new or used. And then they'll have like a fixed charge for that. The typical charge I've been seeing with most dealers is anywhere from like $1,300 to $2,000, sometimes $3,000 for this whole package. And here's the reason why I'm not super opposed to this, because just like I mentioned before, this is something that you can actually physically see. If they actually added some sort of interior protection plan, you can see the difference between that and a car that is not protected with the interior, because the interior literally has to be treated. And then when it comes to like clear bra protection on the front end, again, you can physically see like, oh, there is actual, like if it's the whole like front end of the car, then you can like just feel on the edge of the hood if there's like an extra edge where it was wrapped, or if it's just like the very front end of the car, then you can literally just see the line go straight across the paint. So again, it's something you can physically see. And then same thing with the window tint as well. That's something that you can physically see because the windows are darker with the car. So these are items that you can see, and in my opinion, they add value because clear bra protection, that means you're not gonna get rock chips on the front end of the car, because trust me, especially if it's a new car, that's very painful. That's why I actually add it to every single one of the vehicles that I personally own. And then window tint, I mean, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Like I have that on all of my vehicles, because if you have good window tint, then you actually don't even have to use sunglasses when you drive, because you've got that UV protection, which is super nice, so you don't have to worry about that. And also, so you don't get your arm burned if you're on a super long road trip and have your like arm on the top of the armrest in the car. Trust me, I've had that happen a couple times, or like one of them super tan from that. And then with the interior protection, especially if you have kids or something like that, that's something that is always a big plus, so that it's a little bit easier to clean up the interior. That's the one that I feel like is the least necessary out of the three that I just mentioned, but I still think it's a pretty cool item. However, like I said at the beginning of this particular clip, dealers need to understand if they're going to add these items, they need to be willing to negotiate the price on the items. Now, I don't think that it's fair for dealers to just give these items away for free. Maybe if they really want to put a car deal together, then yeah, and I understand that some people might be frustrated that these items will just automatically be added onto cars without them saying. But like I said, they add value. And so the way that I would approach it is, you know, on top of negotiating the car, well, it's got accessories on it, so negotiate those accessories. That's pretty much going to sum things up for today's video, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this whole situation where dealers are going back to what they used to do with adding a bunch of accessories to a vehicle in hopes of making extra profit. And I mean, I think we can all agree that stuff like nitrogen-filled tires just doesn't make any sort of sense, because it doesn't add any value to the car. But that situation I mentioned earlier in the video where a dealership, you know, maybe adds window tint and clear bra protection, and you know they're trying to charge $1,000, $1,500 for it. Would you be really frustrated if you went to a dealership and found out that, you know, this car that you thought you could get for MSRP is now $1,000 or $1,500 above MSRP because it has those items on it? Are those items that you would even be interested in getting, or would you rather the dealership just not have those items on it and then you go get it after the fact? If it was me personally, what I would do in that situation is I would be like, okay, well, that's nice because those are items that I add on my cars anyways. However, window tint is like a $300 thing to add to a car if it's good window tint. And then, you know, paint protection film on the front end of a car, that's like, what, $300 to $500 again, depending on the quality of it. And so you're looking at closer to, you know, $700, $800 worth of items, not $1,500 worth of items. And so that's kind of how I would go about it. I'd be like, you know what, these are cool because I'm going to have them anyways. I'll take them, but not $1,500, $800, and sign me up and let's move on the way. But that'll sum things up. I'll see you.